Hello and welcome back to Shoogly Shed Motors. Apologies, this isn't an XJR 1300 update. I'm waiting for the engine casings that are getting coated, but I've had some sneak peek photos and they're looking awesome. So just be a little bit more patient and we'll get back on the XJR very quickly. But with the XJR 1300 in mind, something I've wanted to get for a while is a sandblasting cabinet. Like this one here. This is going to make my life 10 times easier when it comes to restoring a lot of the XJR 1300 parts. I've got a big box of bits that need various different finishings done, and if I can get some kind of sandblasting and cleaning action done on some of them, that would make make my life and some other coaters' lives 10 times easier. Anyway, I thought I would do a little video basically on this little machine, and I'll show you what I've bought. Okay, this is a Mattis blast cabinet basically. I got it from sandblasters.co.uk, which is basically an online supplier of, as you can imagine, sandblasting equipment and sandblasters and abrasives and things like that. But this effectively was the cheapest cabinet I could get, and that was also the reason I wanted to get it, was this kind of size of it. I don't have a lot of space in Shoogly Shed Mark II for something that, a bit like this, I suppose will not be used that often, but it's very handy to have. So what I thought, I'd get something nice and compact that I can kind of find somewhere to put and maybe move it out when I want to use it, and then kind of put it away when I'm finished with it. Also, reason I wanted to get something fairly small like this is because I'm not really blasting anything big. It's mostly little bike parts. Anything bigger like frames and things would probably, I would just be taking to a blaster anyway. It would be done before a frame, for example, was getting powder coated, so I'm not too worried about that. But this will allow me to blast little parts that I'm going to paint or polish or whatever in the shed itself. So, without further ado, why don't we get this set up and have a little look at it, get some abrasives in it, and maybe try blasting some stuff. So, as with most, if not all, sandblasting cabinets, you've got your gloves here that go onto the inside. So you put your hands into these and you can work on your parts inside the cabinet without breaking the seal. The reason that's important is when you're blasting you create a lot of dust and things, and we want it contained as much as possible inside this cabinet. So obviously we've got our screen up here for looking in. This one has a tearaway film, so as this screen gets maybe slightly abraded and damaged by the blasting, you can peel that off and put a new one on, and it doesn't affect the actual perspex lid. An air hook up on the side, button over here for a light. So we look inside it. So we have obviously our blasting gun, that's a little air filter, that's the light, and the abrasive pickup that I've glued onto that little bit there. I'll explain a little bit more about that later. Basically it's a very sort of simple machine. All it's designed to do is to keep as much of the dust as possible inside the cabinet. However, I will also still be wearing a respirator, because as great as these things are, they can still let a little bit of dust out, and various different nasty dusts can be created by blasting various paints, and also the abrasive dust. You don't want to be inhaling that in. Yeah, let's get this set up. Right, that's it all connected up. Obviously you saw me just built a wee shelf there that that'll sit on, and then I can lift it out and move it about if I want to, you know, work in a bit more space or whatever. But as for just standing there and doing little parts, that will serve a perfect service for me. Yeah, I suppose the only thing left to do is to try and blast something. I've got a disc brake rotor from the XJR, just an old one with some blue paint on it. I thought that would be a good thing to try and blast first. The media I've put in there is basically a kind of glass grit. It's quite a heavy grit, it's quite a coarse abrasive quality to it, I think. So it's for basically stripping corrosion in paint and things like that. I've also invested in some soda, which is better for things like carburetors and things like that, because it won't damage like soft aluminium, it'll just clean it. So I'd quite like to also try that at some point. And I've also bought some aluminium oxide, which hasn't arrived yet, which is also a bit more coarse, but unlike the glass media, again, is a little bit more gentle. So, you know, playing about with a few different abrasives and hopefully figure out which one works for, you know, whichever purpose. But first up, I'm just going to see how well the blaster works, blast this disc, see how clean I can get it and how quickly it works, and then, yeah, probably wrap this up. Right, so as far as paint removal goes, it does get there eventually, but it's not fast, and that's probably the most abrasive stuff I want to use in there. But I was kind of jumping in straight in at the deep end with this, like the capabilities of this machine. I have many different methods of removing paint, be that, you know, everything from paint stripper to things like paint removal discs on angle grinders, etc. And even like my wire wheel on my bench grinder does a good job of that too. You know, as a wee test, I think that's not bad, but probably a slow way of removing paint. Let's try removing things like oxidization on something, because I think that's probably where this will come into its own, in particular for getting into hard to reach areas that wheels and grinders and things can't. So for contrast, that's the side that I didn't really blast. You can see that. And that's the side that I have blasted. It's got a nice sort of peen finish to it, which I'm imagining would take paint really well. Nicely keyed. And if you wanted to, for example, polish that, I think a finer grade media, maybe like my aluminium oxide or even like my soda blasting, would do a good job of smoothing that right off. But aside from that, sort of kind of rough before and after, I think that's pretty effective. It took me a while to kind of get the hang of the machine and how it works, and it seems to be if you overwhelm the pickup tube, the tube that actually picks up the media, it sort of jams, or it doesn't suck quite as smoothly as if you just let it sort of flow gently into the pickup tube. and then it kind of keeps a nice constant stream. Once I kind of figured that out, that was much more effective and definitely sped up the process. But yeah, this was just meant to be a little quick video to show you this, little tool, and I'm sure I'll be using it in many videos to come, and you'll get to see the results from different medias as I kind of experiment. But yeah, like I said, this is just a sort of little introductory video to this little blasting cabinet I've got myself, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Right, hopefully next time I will have parts back for the engine for the XJR. I've been purchasing gasket sets and piston rings and replacement nuts and bolts and seals, etc. for the engine. So hopefully when I get the casings back, it will be all guns blazing to get the thing put back together. Yeah, there's plenty to do, but I wanted to just make this little video because I wanted to actually have a go at using my new sandblaster. And hopefully, like I say, there will be more videos in the future where I'm using it for various different tasks and various different medias, so we'll kind of, yeah, look out for them as and when they come. But as a little kind of unboxing and review video, that's I'm pretty impressed with my little Mattis cabinet, and for I think it was about 130 quid. Not too bad, not too shabby. Obviously you need an air compressor to run it, but any good workshop should not be without an air compressor for various different reasons. But aside from that, I want to try a few different medias, see what works best, and then yeah, get good at sandblasting my stuff. Anyway, as usual, please do give me a like, leave me a comment, and subscribe to the Shoogly channel. I will see you next time. Take care, and goodbye.